But before that, we're going to get into some breaking news. It came out within an hour or so ago.
When we just started the show.
Yep. That, remember yesterday the big news was that Kawhi Leonard was sitting out the nationally televised game on ESPN against the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the league initially came out, while everybody knew
the league endorsed it and said that they had no issue with it.
Yeah, the league came out and said, look, basically said he's hurt. And then Doc Rivers spoke before the game, and credit to Doc, he was honest and open about it and said things like he feels great. And not with as much exuberation, but he did say
Do we have that sound clip?
Great.
We don't have it?
We don't have it. Okay, but I think I saw the quote, if I can find it here. Okay, here, I have the quote. Here it is. Doc said this before the game. He feels great, but he feels great because of what we've been doing. And we are just going to continue to do it. There's no concern here, but we want to make sure. That's pretty much what it is. He also said, I think Kawhi made the statement he's never felt better. It's our job to make sure he stays that way. And that's important. But he played a lot of minutes in the playoffs last year, and it's not a health thing.
That's not what the league said.
Really, it is. In some ways, we want him to just keep feeling better and getting better. Okay, so here's the money things. He feels great. It's not a health thing.
Boom. Hello.
I think Kawhi made the statement he's never felt better. Didn't play.
Then that's a contradiction of what supposedly the Clippers had put out and the NBA that they had signed off on, Chris.
Yep.
You said it. You said the league came across basically stamping an endorsement saying he's damaged goods. He's hurt.
Well,
that's why I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
That's why they agreed that this is nothing that they're concerned about. He's following the NBA protocol on this. We're cool. We're copacetic. We get it. And Doc Rivers isn't going to sit up there and make up some story. He's just talking.
Right.
And he got fined $50,000 today.
So it's interesting. And I talked to some people around the league today, some former players, and you always some of them think that a travel league. I talked to Earl Watson. Earl Watson tweeted out that the problem is travel basketball, and these kids, and they are playing 4 and 5 games a day on weekends in these travel leagues.
Which is just crazy,
it's ridiculous.
right? So you might play 14 games over the weekend.
Let me say this to all you basketball people out there. This is why the 5 best young players in the world are from countries outside of America. Because while we're playing games, 4 and 5 games every weekend,
they're doing drills and skills.
Luka Doncic, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, I know he started playing late, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they were doing drills. They were getting their fundamentals down. They weren't just playing games and doing whatever they wanted. And so, but that's what some people think the case is.
You know what the problem with that?
I think Kawhi, Rob, I think there is maybe some mental block where, he's only played 70 or more games twice in his 8-year career. And I think he feels, because it went so well last year, and even he did get banged up in the playoffs, but I think he feels like if he plays too many games, that he's going to get hurt or not have enough left in the finals or the playoffs or whatever. But it seems like he's got some type of, I don't know if it's a degenerative knee problem or tendonitis or something beyond tendonitis, where his doctors are saying, look, you just shouldn't play back-to-backs.
That's not what the coach said, and that's the issue.
And I can't, the Lakers could say, look, we're 6-1. We can afford to lose a few games. Let's sit LeBron and AD
winning
just
all
in
these
case,
games don't matter.
because we want to keep them healthy.
Right.
This sets such a bad precedent. And my thing, Rob, and look, and I've said this before load management became an issue. I think I would love to see the NBA cut the 82 games to about 62, 65, 60, something like that. Because I think there'd be more of a sense of urgency for every game. The games would mean more. They'd be more intense. And I think it'd be great. And a lot of players are telling us they can't play or don't want to play 80 games anymore. So if that's the case, let's shorten it.
I couldn't disagree with you more on that. I think that's such a cop-out that they can't play 82 games over the course of 365. They have the entire summer off. Stop playing in the international stuff.
Right. Get rid of that.
Get rid of that. Stop.
Nobody cares.
Okay. Stop cheats. Nobody cares about that. Stop cheating the fans. And here's the other one, Chris. You want to make the games count more and have more intensity, whatever. Don't cut the amount of games. Cut the amount of teams that make it to the playoffs to make the season worthwhile. So if the season's worthwhile, no, I'm telling you,
it's fine with eight in each conference. That's fine.
No, instead of having that, what about 8 total? Now all of a sudden the regular season matters.
There is nothing better, including your little Major League Baseball players, which are fine. There's nothing better than the 2 months of NBA playoffs.
Is it really
basketball.
In the first round where everybody gets swept?
We've seen some
How
great.
many times have we seen the first round?
Yeah, but we've also seen great first round matchups. We've seen
seldom.
some bad ones, but we've also seen some really good ones.
I just say if I'm going to make the change and I'm the commissioner, you want to make the regular season matter where people have to play, then have less teams in the playoffs. This way, if you're Kawhi Leonard, you can't sit out 22 games. It matters. This is what I'm saying.
I'll give you that.
Am I right?
I'll give you that.
Because
if you
it
had
wouldn't
be a top 4 seed,
and you couldn't sit out that many games.
That's a good point.
And that's all I'm saying. I'd rather do that than to just say we can only have 62 NBA games in 365. That means 300 days a year. They're not playing a game.
No, I think it's like, honestly, and I know you'll hate this. I think baseball, and I know they won't do it for historical reason, all that. They should go to about 100 games.
No, that wouldn't happen.
Or 80 something. It would make each game a lot more interesting. It would, and people would be more into it. I know money, so it's not going to happen. But still, Major League Baseball would be better with half the games, and NBA would be better with about 60 games. It'd be that much more interesting every single game. And if the players are telling us we can't play, Kawhi Leonard is right now the best player in basketball.
Chris, if you were to make it consequences for not playing on a non-injury and your doctor days pay, I guarantee you Kawhi Leonard would be playing. There's no repercussions. There's nothing. So that's why it's easy to take the night off. All right, the team gets fined. He doesn't get fined. There's nothing that happens to him. I could take the night off. If you were going to take the night off from the radio show and they were going to dock you a full day's pay, I guarantee you'd be here most nights.
Right.
You would.
No, look,
you got to make the guy have to earn his pay. And stop with the paying people not to work.
I hear you, because if a guy tells you before the season, I'm playing 65 games, then let's prorate the contract. Let's prorate the contract.
And then he would be like, if you told him that, he'd be like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
I'm playing.
Right.
I'm playing. So
I'm just saying, there's got to be a money thing. And when guys get full pay and they can take off whenever they want and are not held accountable, and I get it. We talked about it before. The reason that these guys won't play 15 minutes if they need a night or blow is they don't want their stats to go down, right? Their averages would go down if they only played 15 minutes and then didn't put up 8 points and they're averaging 24, right? That would drop your scoring average down.
And I think there are other ways to low manage. And this is the way, like, everybody brings it back to the Spurs. And I get it. Because the Spurs were definitely the first team to start this. But if you look at Tim Duncan, the first half of his career, he was playing 80 games many seasons. His second to last year, he played 77.
He didn't take off 20 games or 15 games.
Right. What Popovich did was kept the minutes. Like, they would play 32 minutes, 33 minutes, 30 minutes. That's it.
Better.
Tony Parker's playing like 30 minutes a night, 31 minutes. So lower the minutes to the low 30s. And then if you have to give them practices off, so be it. That's the way you can low manage. And here's another thing, Rob. Shoot-arounds. They started doing shoot-arounds. You know this.
I used to go to shoot-arounds.
Off to keep guys from. I mean, they still hang out,
but so they had to get up in the morning and they couldn't get lost.
You stay out till 5, 6 in the morning, knowing you got to get up at 9 a.m. and go to shoot-around and be coherent. So they did. That was part of the reason. So what the Spurs would do is they'd have some shoot-arounds right before the game, like 4 o'clock, rather than in the morning. So there are other ways you can load manage without a guy having to miss a game.
Totally agree. I'm not going to buy into this. I think Kawhi is a tremendous player. I just don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. And I think the NBA, they're kidding themselves.
Adam has to nip it in the bud.
Right.
There's
this has to
doubt.
stop.
Yeah.
Because
God forbid, if this spreads.
Right. And we didn't even hear from ESPN, who couldn't have been happy last night with that. I did not watch the game last night, Chris. I did not watch the game. And look at that. You're an NBA guy, right?
I had no interest. I had it on,
right, but
I had
you didn't
it
watch
on, but I wasn't
it.
into it like I would have been.
Right.
And the Clippers played well. I had it on, so I was paying attention.
But you know what I'm saying.
But
you didn't watch
I was looking forward to this game.
I was going to go after the show last night.
And so here's what ESPN had. They had the Rockets against a Warriors team when you couldn't even recognize any of the Warriors players. And then they had Milwaukee, the Clippers, without Kawhi. I mean, come on. That had to be a disastrous night. I mean, thankfully for them, the Clippers kept it close.
Right. They only lost by 4, right?
Right. The Clippers played well. Lou
5.
Williams, he missed a lot of shots, but he scored 34 or something like that. But it was just, and Giannis, God bless Giannis Antetokounmpo. He came out and said it was a story with Chris Haynes, FS1 NBA analyst and Yahoo Sports senior NBA writer, where he told Haynes that Mike Budenholzer, a disciple of Greg Popovich, wanted to put him on load management. And Giannis was like, I want to play. I want to practice. And so what they did is they've lowered his minutes in games. And he's being more efficient than ever. He's having his best season ever. It's early, but he's playing tremendous basketball. That's a way you can do it. And so one thing I don't want to hear, Rob.
What's that?
Is from the doctors who and I'm not a doctor, but from the doctors who may come out and say all of our tests show that, they can't play 82 games. And I don't doubt that they're not getting the rest they should get, although they have more time to sleep than your average person. That's for darn sure.
Yep.
If they'll go to sleep. And then, they're overworked. Because I'll tell you, most people with high achieving jobs or careers are overworked. My wife's a medical doctor. If she's on call, she may be up 36 hours straight, 48 hours straight, get 4 hours sleep in the midst of 48 hours. People on Wall Street, when they first start working there, they're working 100-hour weeks. So doctors, lawyers, they're all overworked. Some people in our profession, overworked.
To be a reporter now, Chris, and cover stuff now is just...
Because you go to shoot around, you got to tweet.
And you got to continue doing all that. After the game, somebody posts something, you got to come back with a story. When we used to put the paper to bed at midnight or 12:15, we were done.
Easy. Right.
We could go to the bar, go to hang out or whatever, and not be worried that, Chris is going to have a story and I'm going to be...
Tweet.
A tweet,
no
and I'm going to be in trouble tomorrow, or I didn't have it. So
you think Adam Schefter and Adam Wojner or Adrian Wojnarowski are getting enough sleep?
No.
Adam has said he hadn't taken a vacation in like 7 years.
Which is crazy.
I mean, so I'm just saying, don't single out the basketball players as the only ones who are overworked. All right, what, if anything, can the NBA do to fix the load management problem? How do you feel about the load management with the Clippers being fined $50,000 today for Doc Rivers come out and saying, Kawhi feels great.
It feels great. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's go to Adam in Salt Lake City. Adam, welcome to the Odd Couple.
Thanks for taking my call, guys. I think the NBA's main problem is that they forget they have stars outside of Los Angeles they could be promoting. Guys who aren't doing load management and would happily play in the national games. I mean, you don't see guys like Giannis or Donovan Mitchell taking nights off like that. Why isn't the NBA putting them in the spotlight?
Well, I mean, Giannis, Milwaukee is on. You're right. Utah, they've been on. In fact, they were on a couple weeks ago in the nationally televised game that Kawhi sat out.
Yep, that was the other game. You're right, Adam. But you know what? I think the league is going to have to grab hold of this and nip this in the bud.
No doubt.
And the $50,000 to Doc Rivers is part of
That's
it.
what they're trying to do.
Where they're like, oh, we can't go one day and say one thing, and the guy gets up there and says, like we were lying, because that's what it sounds like. Eric in Oregon, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, man, appreciate you guys taking my call.
No sweat.
Yeah. So I think what we should do, man, is lower it down to 70 games. And I'm a hardcore NBA fan. I'm a hardcore Portland Trailblazers fan. Man, I'm seeing all these guys, sit games, and I just think if we brought it down to 70, what you do is you play everyone in your own conference 3 times. You play everyone in the opposite conference twice. That's 72. Or I'm sorry, 72, not 70 games.
72
games.
instead of 82.
I could see. I'd be happy with anything between 60 and 70. I think you also could even out the schedule. I'd like to see them even out the schedule. So basically, you play everybody 3 times, roughly, and then you could have just the top 16 records. The conferences are irrelevant at this point. Let's go to Johnny in Las Vegas. Johnny, you're on with the Odd Couple.
Hey, love the show, guys.
Thank you, Johnny.
Of course. I just want to say as far as what can we do, nothing really. There's not that many players taking load management days off.
Thankfully.
Right.
Kawhi, thankfully, yes. Second, I feel like it's more of it's like a player power issue because I feel like when the Spurs were doing it, with Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, it was a smart move. Pop doesn't want to show his cards to the Miami Heat when they're playing on the road. Now that Kawhi's doing it for his own self, it's a player power problem.
But people were upset. Remember when the Spurs sat out that nationally televised game against the Heat? And they were upset because Popovich, he sent home.
If you remember,
Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili.
Stern, I remember that.
And he got fined, I think, $250,000.
Exactly. He was really pissed. Right. I remember that. Stern was mad, and they were on a long road trip. It was the last game of a road trip, and he sent those guys ahead on a plane. They didn't even go to the arena.
Yep.
And that was not cool. Dominic in Oakland, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Dominic?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think they need to lower the games down to an amount where there's no back-to-backs, with a 60, 65, somewhere in there, because I think a lot of these players are looking at I talk to people, I work with that are a little younger than me, and when you mention Dirk, Kobe, Tim Duncan, some of these D-Wade, some of the players that were great, they just remember them from the last years when they were banged up, getting 12 points a game, sitting on the bench, being a mentor. And I think some of these players, once they get to a certain point, they realize if I keep playing 82 games, I may be good for 10 years. But the last 4 or 5 years, I'm going to just be some role player trying to get minutes, or like Carmelo Anthony trying to get on the team or something like that. So
Carmelo played 16 years.
Carmelo had a long career.
I mean, I'm
Chris
sorry.
Paul is playing long. He's in, 15th year, 14th year.
Right, but
There are
Chris
plenty
Paul
of guys.
now is not the same as the Chris Paul.
But that's in
but
all
he's-
sports,
exactly.
though. As you get older, that's just
LeBron is an aberration. I mean, he's aged better than anybody, but Kevin Garnett played a long career. But you age. I mean, it happens no matter how many games you play. In New York, you're on with Chris and Rob.
Hey, guys, long time. Hope all is well. Love
yes.
the show.
Thank you, buddy.
Look, we can't do anything about the low management. And, hey, if I could take off a quarter of the, 3 months out of the year and get paid for the full year, I would do it too. So, I mean, I'm not going to blame Kawhi, or any other player that wants to do it.
Ennis, let me stop you, though. Seriously.
Okay, Rob.
All right, let me just stop you. How about the people paid money? Here's my problem. I told this to Chris yesterday. If you told me ahead of time he's not playing any back-to-backs, or you gave me games that he will not play, you would give me an option whether
Which
or not
you could do.
Right, you could do it. You already know it if you mapped out the
games.
games.
You could do it before the season. Yep.
And in this, I could decide not to buy season tickets, or I could decide not to buy tickets to those games. I don't think it's fair that he's not playing, but you didn't divulge that to me, right? And I'm spending my money. And if there was no ticket sold and this was just a television thing and people could determine whether they wanted to turn it on or off, that's something else. But I don't think that's fair. And are you thinking of that part, people who spend their hard-earned money?
Of course I am, because when I live in New York, and whenever Kobe came out here to play against the Knicks, I always bought tickets, but, there were a few times where I bought tickets and he wasn't there, and I just...
How'd you feel?
No, but he was hurt,
Were you
though.
upset?
Yeah, no, of course I was upset, but I ate the cost. But, it's buyer beware.
No, but it's different with a guy being hurt. If somebody's hurt,
if you're
he
hurt,
can't
you're
play.
But I still can't get a refund for that.
No, but if I'm telling you that if enough people start to complain about this is going to be an issue.
Yeah, but if Kawhi played last night and he got hurt, what about the people tonight? They're going to miss out.
Well, of course we don't want anybody to get hurt, but that's a risk you take in playing any of the sports.
Exactly.
I mean, it could happen anytime.
You're just taking a night off. I mean, can you give up your money so we could give refunds to all the people who came to see you?
Hey, it's The Odd Couple. I'm Chris. He is Rob. And we want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. You know, you can listen to us on the radio, and now you can watch us as well, and it's fun.
No question about it. And remember, oh, yeah!